How you doing, YouTube's Billy Ray? I don't know exactly what I'm going to title this video. Not that long ago, I spoke a little bit about marriage on a live stream, and I've been thinking about our relationships in this world and how toxic they can get sometimes. And I've been trying to think about why. And one of the things that, thank God, I've got my feed to stop showing me this stuff. One of the things that was plaguing me for a while was all this red pill content. Grown men, most of them not married, arguing with you know, groups of women on the internet, trying to figure out what the world's going on here. All of them's claim is they're financially successful. You know, uh, I don't know. Just because you got money don't mean shit on me, and just because you don't got money don't mean shit neither. But you know, I think our relationships, how we go about our relationships, friends, family, spouses, is a direct reflection of how we treat ourselves. And what I mean by that is if you treat yourself as a toy, then other people are going to treat you as a toy. If you treat yourself as an object, other people are going to treat you as an object. If you treat yourself as in you're only worth what you can produce or what you can provide or how good you are at this or good you are at that, people are going to treat you accordingly. And also, as you're treating yourself these ways, you're also going to be treating other people these ways, because if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for them. So let me ask you this. If you're driven by your lust and you treat yourself as a toy, as a sexual toy, would you not also be treating your spouse that way? When you give in to your baser animalistic tendencies and you focus your life around these things and you treat yourself that way as an animal who just wants things right now, who's worried about how I feel right now, are you also not treating your spouse or your family members or the people around you as animals as well? These are things to really think about. You know, I had the idea of sacrificing today for tomorrow for many years before I heard Jordan Peterson say it. And I probably heard Jordan Peterson say it around 2016 or 17, but it hadn't really come. I didn't really know. I didn't really know it, right? I didn't. The idea was there, and I was going about my life as that, but I did not have it fully expressed or thought through. And the more I work on that idea, I realized that sacrifice is part of our consciousness. The ability to sacrifice today for next week separates us from the animals. And that is, I think, one half of our conscious, one half of our thought process. And I think in this world, from a very young age, we teach children that their baser desires are correct, and that's what they should focus on. And as they get older and they start getting into maturity with the sexual culture and the I want it right now, and whole instead of building it yourself, you can just buy it out of a store. These right now impulses just feed into treating ourselves as a thing. And and it could be just as simple of I'm tired, I don't want to go home and fix a hamburger, so I'm going to go through McDonald's. I'm guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of it. Or, something similar. Maybe not specifically McDonald's, but. And it just. My thought process is that before you can have a meaningful relationship, a truly meaningful relationship with people, is you have to learn how to treat yourself in a beneficial way first before you can treat other people in a beneficial way. Now, granted, when we're in our crap and we're doing these weird things, of course, there's some parts of us that have that give benefit, right? And we equate that small amount of benefit that we give to ourselves and the people around us as as, oh, I'm doing good, right? This is evidence that I'm doing good, but you're falling off in 80% of everything else, right? Because we're more focused in treating ourselves in a I want it right now situation. Instead of learning how to temper our base desires and learning how to work in reality of the world, we find ways to do whatever it is we want and almost work out of the natural reality of the world. Our entire society is built on getting around the natural society, that natural order of the world. And then we wonder why our relationships suffer, why our marriages suffer, why our kids suffer. You know, um, I don't think people realize how powerful the message of die on your cross daily is. I don't think people realize how strong. Take all the other stuff out of it, right? I know some of the people that listen to this are Jewish and some are non-Christian, some are atheists, or whatever. Take all the connotations that goes with Jesus on the cross away for a second, just for a second, and think about the process of what it would take to die on your cross today and then pick it up tomorrow and sacrifice again. And then you can start to, I think once that concept is truly fleshed out, that you can start to see how your relationships will flourish. Right. It's one thing to say, well, God says this about sex, God says this about stealing, and God says this, and it's true, He says all these things, right? But to just make that statement alone and not follow it up is pretty lazy, right? Because we have a book, right, with hundreds and hundreds of pages in it that was given to us by God that lays it all out for us. We can find the behaviors. Although it's different, although the way our society is now is different than the way society was when the book was written, you can find stories of what happens when you focus on this thing or that thing. You can find it when you are not of God, right? And you're going against Him. You can find stories of what that looks like in the Bible. No problem. Right? And you can find antidotes of how to fix these things. No problem. No problem. We have to spend more time figuring out how our simple behaviors that we've all grown accustomed to affects us in our relationships, affects us in our life, affects us spiritually, affects us mentally. Oh, I hope that what I'm saying here makes sense, and I hope some of the people that know me and know my conversations can make the connections I'm trying to make here. Because I think the problem I'm talking about here is the baseline to all of it. Is the baseline to the mental instability, is the baseline to bad relationships, baseline to addiction. Like, this is the baseline. Treating yourself. How can you treat, like Jesus tells us, and also it's in Deuteronomy. God tells us that, you know, treat our neighbors as ourselves. That's implying that you're treating yourself well, right? And how do we know if we're treating ourselves well? Well, we got the 5 books of Moses, the Torah, the writings, and the prophets to judge by if we're treating ourselves well or not. Things to think about. Things to think about. Y'all have a good one now.